guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Wednesday morning. Hope we're all okay. Hope we're all right. Hope we are looking forward to a good day. In this video, though, we're talking about Spurs' interest in potentially adding a new centre-back in January, alongside chatting about Radu Dragusin and his future, as well as that, a little bit more to talk about Johnny Cardoso. So there's plenty of good stuff to talk about, plenty to get into. Just want to say, if you're watching this, you know, subscribe. You very much enjoy this journey. Had a few new recent people join us, so welcome if you are one of those people. Obviously, I think we're close to like 3,300 subscribers now, which is pretty damn cool. I won't lie, it's pretty damn cool. Morning Spurs, morning Dan, would love a new centre back. Morning Young Slayer and Adventurous. How are we all? So look, sorry I'm a couple minutes late, by the way, or a minute late. I was uploading a video for the members on Radu Dragusin. So if you are a member, that'll be up in a few hours' time in the afternoon. Kick back and relax and enjoy. So let's talk centre-backs. Let's talk about the situation on hand for centre-backs. And it came through Daily Hotspur, who on Twitter, through an exclusive through Graham Bailey. Okay. Hey, this is where I got it from, basically. And he said that, unsurprisingly, Spurs have no interest in selling Radu Dragusin in January, despite a bit of frustration from the player at his minutes. So I'm just going to pause there before I come to the additional bit about a centre-back. And for my personal opinion, as much as his agent loves a natter about his player, which I don't actually ironically have an issue with, because that's what agents should do. Agents should drum up news and drum up chatter about his player, keeps him in the public eye in a good way. You know, he's not bad, you know, if you know what I mean. It's all good publicity for him. It's good. And, you know, it keeps the club that you play for on their toes about, oh, you know, he could leave. We should probably give him more minutes, you know, that kind of thing. He's obviously in a situation right now where both the guys that have been starting in the Premier League, both Mickey and Kuti, both out. Radu obviously being the next in line is getting chunk games. You know, he's had games against Man City last week. He had obviously the game at the weekends. He's going to be having the game on tomorrow. He's going to be having Ipswich. So he's going to get a run of games in the team. And I said in my members video about him, I was like, do you know what? If you actually think about it, in all competitions through the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Europa League, the Premier League and international football, he's going to start about 30 to 35 games in this season. So I think Radu's development is just going to keep going up through the roof. Because there were some surprising stats and figures that I put in that video. But, you know, he's still very much new to top flight football, which is what we need to keep an eye on. Because, you know, we sit there and talk about, oh, look at Mickey and look at Romero and things like that. Radu is very inexperienced. Morning, Callum, mate. How are we? Morning, Sonia. Gonzo, mate. How are we? Yeah, Gonzo. Members video coming out in a few hours' time, by the way, mate. So I forgot. I don't know if you heard that at the start. No politics chat, I'm guessing. No, mate. Definitely no politics. I couldn't give a rat's ass about it. I care more about Ange's team coming out tomorrow and playing in Galatasaray than I do anything across the waters, you know. Morning, Jazz. How are you? So look, I'm glad Radu's not going to be moving on. I think we've got a rock star at the back there, a proper centre back who loves defending. For me, I'm really glad he's staying. Sorry, 1 second. Romano just tweeted about Richarlison, and I completely missed it. Richarlison said on his injury, it's a difficult moment again. I was very happy working hard and playing, but I'm now injured again. It's difficult to say what I'm feeling in this moment. Just pray for me. I hope God will protect me. Okay, it's not really anything relevant. I love Richarlison, but that's not really anything relevant. So moving on. Feels a bit mean, but you know what I mean. Moving on, let's talk as well. And Graham Bailey also went on to say that Tottenham are also looking to add a fourth central defender in January, which I was interested about, to be honest, because twofold. With Vuskovic and Phillips, they talked about how they don't want to step in the way of their trajectory of getting back into the squad for next season. Bringing in a fourth centre-back, one of two things. One, you feel like actually they probably should go out on loan again next year, or you might sell them. Two, you might actually then view Ben Davies as a left-back instead of a centre-back. because obviously, he features at both. Or actually 3, it's a bit of both. You're moving off of Ben Davies in the summer, and those guys still aren't ready. And that's why I'm curious as to the situation. I'm curious as to how they think of those players. Obviously, Vuskovic is playing for a team in Belgium. That's a half-decent team. But my biggest issue with that is they just ship goals, don't they? As much as he's been scoring goals, they've not really been keeping them out on the back end, Stick to football, yeah, I know, right? Howdy, Kamala Harris. How are you? Sell him. Do you mean Dragusin or Richie? Jazz? Sorry, I must have missed that as we were talking about it. Andy, do you have a vacancy? I've been fired from my job. Technically, you've not been fired till about January. Morning, Andy. Let's get a streak going again. Attaboy, Cozy. Is a new centre-back credible when Ange said he doesn't want to block the path of Vuskovic, Phillips and Dorrington? Well, that's what I was thinking, Callum. If you bring a centre-back in, are you getting in the way of those two and their trajectory? But is there a situation, hypotheticals, let's hypothetical it, jazz hands, Andy, and all of that. You're looking to bring one on loan and saying, we're going to bring someone on loan for 6 months, get through to the end of the season. If they do really well, we'll look to keep them. If not, we can move off of them. What does that say for a Dorrington, though, who's at the club right now? And yes, he's had a few injuries, but he's at the club right now. Or is it a situation where you go, we still want to keep, because we can't bring Vuskovic in, but Phillips, we still want to keep him at Stoke and just let him play a year there, get his development in where he's going to be playing, well, he should be playing 90 minutes week in, week out. And he has recently become back into the side, which has taken in an upturn of form for Stoke, by the way, which is nice. Richie should move on at this point. Any attribute of any player is availability. Well, the best ability is availability, Surely a left back who can play centrally. Yeah, well, I was thinking that. And then a part of me thought, do you know what? I just like a left back at left back. If he plays centre back, great. But that's, for me, just a left back who can play left back, who can do what we want from Destiny and what he does. I think the best acquisition would be a good left back that plays centre back like Calafiori. I assume Kamala is the person who does Donna. I'm assuming we all remember Donna. Yeah, I'm assuming this is the same person. Richie, sorry, fair enough, Jazz. Bring back Longley. Longley's playing at Atletico. I think he's doing all right there at the moment. But yes, look, for me, I like the idea. I'm curious to the future, though. And maybe that's the way I shouldn't think. Maybe I should live in the now and think about this season and not think about next season, Is a sausage, yeah. He's an all right sauce, yeah. So there's that. Right, moving on, because I want to talk about Johnny Cardoso, the Real Betis midfielder. And Roberto will love this, because Roberto was like, Andy, you need to talk about him on your loan roundup. And I was like, hands up, not been doing it, but I probably should do it, shouldn't I, And with Cardoso, we know about the fact that part of the Giovanni Lo Celso deal in the summer was the fact that Spurs basically have bought into the future purchase of Cardoso. And if they don't pick up Cardoso's option to buy, then if he was to get sold, we'd make money on that, right? So it was like a future investment. If he didn't work out for us, he might work out elsewhere and Spurs may make some money. If he does work out and Spurs want him, then we've got a player there. But apparently it's exclusive. It's exclusive saying that Spurs are more than likely to activate the £21 million option to sign Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. This will obviously be in the summer, by the way. This won't be a January signing. This will be a summer signing. So for me, I like it. I'm very happy about this. I think he's been fantastic, and Roberto will back me up. He always does. Absolute legend of the chat. Always will back me up to say he's had a fantastic season so far at Betis. I mean, they're sitting, only a few points off of third. They're kind of what you would look at Spurs in the table and how close we are to third. They're the exact same thing, basically, right? They're pretty much, I think they're seventh and they're 3 points off third. So they're pretty much the same, right? He looks like a really exciting player. And obviously people will then go, well, what does that mean for Bentancur? What does that mean for Basuma and Sarr and Bergvall and Gray? And for me, it doesn't mean anything. Pape looks like a rock star at the moment, which I've been really happy with how. I'm not to say that I am happy that I've been proved right on this because I'm an idiot. I don't get a lot of things right. The one thing I have got right, though, is the fact that if we play Pape against teams who can get on the ball more with a bit more quality, he's magnificent. Yeah, if you're playing a low block team, is it what you want? Maybe you want the double pivot of Kulusevski and Madison, but against teams that can press you a bit more physical, who can go and create a lot of chances, Pape's box-to-box ability is unrivaled, in my opinion. And that's why he's massive. If you go to play at Anfield, I want Pape starting. I don't care who. Pape should be, other than Vicario, Pape's the second player on the team sheet for me. So that's why against games like that, it means nothing for him. For players like Madison and Kulu, it means absolutely nothing. For Bentancur, I don't think it means anything. Basuma is the interesting one because I think they'll want to keep Bentancur for a contract extension. Basuma is the interesting one because obviously he's coming down to, I think his contract expires in 2026. 1 year left come this summertime. He's actually had a decent season. If he was to keep it going, I think he'd probably be kept on because he's obviously basically in the middle of his prime. So, if you gave him an extension, it's not going to be a detrimental one that we have to be burdened with a guy who is old. But, that's the intriguing one. But Cardoso looks like a rock star. I don't know what you guys think. There you go. Donna's back. There you go. Who do you think we signed in January? Well, we've already signed someone, haven't we? We know that. And for the centre, well, if we take the centre back role and who we may sign, and by all means, put your names in the chat. I think Callum said Lukeba from Leipzig. I think it's Leipzig. Obviously, quite an expensive shout, so I don't know if it'll be him as such. Look, I don't think Spurs are going out there spending 50 million on a player. I think if we're going to sign, I think it'll be something around 20 to 25 million. If it's just a loan deal, then obviously it's a bit different, I don't say it enough, Gonzo, because I know it winds them up. I'd like to sign a new left back who can play centre back as well. That way, not really blocking young centre backs coming through. Mark, that's a good shout. Actually, I rate that shout, Mark. I looked at it as I want a left back and left back. I want a centre back and centre back. And actually, if you think about it, if you had someone who is versatile that can play the two, then once one of those two guys that you kind of say, right, we like what we have here, they're with us this season in the first team squad. You then go to the other guy. There you go. You're off to left back to play there. Maybe that's the way we go. And I like that shout, Mark. So fair play. Pape's mates agree. Big up, mate. What have I missed? Just made it see and saw you alive. You've got to put your notifications on, mate, because then you know when I'm live. So I think you even get a notification. If you do have the notifications, I think you get a notification when I'm live in 30 minutes. It gives you a little bit of an update. Look, what have you missed? We talked about Radu Dragusin and Spurs not having an interest to sell him. We spoke about Spurs having an interest to sign a centre-back as well. We're just talking about Cardoso. Fair enough, Donna. We have 7 midfielders that are all playing well at the moment. Pape, Lucas are 21 or less. If Cardoso comes in, who does he displace? Well, that's the thing. Does he? They might look at Archie Gray for another season at right back. Maybe that's the way they go. Cardoso's DM said Lucas wouldn't be affected. Now, Lucas Bergvall, I think, is going to be a rock star as well. And that's why I think we play Bergvall. We start him tomorrow, in my opinion. I'm not saying put in a team of 11 youngsters at the deep end at Galatasaray, but stick him in. What's the update on Nav Dorita? Well, he's missed some time through injury. I just know that. And he's been playing a little bit for the under 21s or under 23s. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Cardoso would only compete with Biss or Bentancur, wouldn't it? Yeah. Ignore the thumbs up. I don't know why that's there. But yeah, he would. So there you go. Look, I'm interested to see what happens with Cardoso. I'm going to, obviously, on loan roundups every Tuesday, we track how the players out on loan do. And because Roberto asked me so nicely to do one and keep him involved, I did put Cardoso in. He's having a fantastic season. Long may that continue. Bring him in the summer. It's a cheap option, which I know some people hate because they think we should spend 70 million on every single player. But if he's a guy that can suit Ange Ball, who has had a year starting week in, week out at a good club in Spain in a good league. Don't look at Real Madrid; they're rubbish. But if a good league, why not? He's massive at Betis. He is absolutely massive. Now, hopefully, he doesn't listen to Lo Celso and Lo Celso tell him that he hates Ange or anything like that. Let's not listen to him on that. All right. But look, he does look like the perfect six in the fact that of his height, his ability to get around the pitch, his physicality, the fact he can get on the ball and pass it. He's kind of how I view Bentancur in a way. He's a bit bigger. He can get around the pitch. He can tackle. He's got a bit of steel in him. If Bentancur, obviously the game he played against Villa, he was good against Villa. If he continued that, then we have a question mark on our hands. And the fact is, there's nothing wrong with having position depth and letting them fight it out. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Is Ange doing a press today? I'd assume so. Yeah, Cozy. It should be around lunchtime, 1 o'clock-ish normally. Hit the like button and become a member. Oh, absolutely, Gonzo. Yeah, members video out in a few hours' time. Gonzo, I'll probably release it about 1 o'clock. So just over 2 hours' time, I'll probably release it. Finally caught Andy live. Big up, Andy, in chat. Big up, mate. How are you? I don't care about Carlo Ancelotti quotes. I have Romano's updates on, but Jesus Christ, I just can't be asked to go through quotes from Carlo Ancelotti. I have no interest. I just want to bring up, I hate that I've just put in Johnny Cardoso and he went American soccer player. No, he's an American football player, an actual football, not American football. Sorry, right. Coming back to you, because Jazz asked about, is Cardoso similar to Declan Rice? In terms of physical stature, yeah, he's about the same sort of height. He just passes forward. That's the difference between the two of them. He can pass forward and Rice pass sideways or backwards. So, look, I think he could be a rock star, but we'll see. But on the centre-back side of things, I think we do need to bring someone in. I think, as soon as you lose one, you're so worried about losing another. And I like Ben Davies. Ben Davies has been really solid in the minutes that he has featured. He's been a steady hand, hasn't made mistakes. He's Mr. Consistent. I always say he's Mr. Consistent. He's always 6.5, 7 out of 10. Always decent, right? Not going to blow socks off, but he's not the reason you lose games, if you know what I mean, right? But he is also a left back playing at centre back. It'd be nice to have a centre back at centre back. And that's why I think bringing a centre-back in January might be a game changer for us. So, if you do want to give Mickey and Kuti both the week off and say, you're not playing in Europa, you're not playing in the FA Cup. Hell, there might even be times if you don't play them in the FA Cup, they might get 2 weeks off. And you go, any niggling injuries, any hamstrings, that hamstring's not feeling right. Cool, got 2 weeks off. We got other centre-backs that can play. And the beautiful thing is as well with Radu, let him have a run of games. Because he's getting the run of games now. And obviously for Romania at the international break, he's going to have another couple of games. So he's probably going to get about 6-7 games in a row where he's going to start 90 minutes or, big chunk of minutes. And dare I say, just going to say this, and heed this, dare I say, if he continues the run of form that he has shown, is there not a part of you that thinks, those two that start in the Premier League, and Romero and Van de Ven, is there not a part of you that thinks, could Dragusin get in there ahead of one of them? Because aerially, he's a monster. Good enough physically in terms of sprinting. Fantastic in blocking of shots. He'll get better on the ball. But when you need to defend, and defend, I'm having him over the other two centre-backs. Now, do I think he's better than them? I'm not saying that. I'm saying when I need to defend, and a team's going to create against us, give me the better actual defender. Because I see him block absolutely bloody everything. Nothing seems to go past him. I'm so high on the Radu Dragusin hype. I cannot I cannot think highly enough of him. But I just think give him a run of games. And if, like I said, he's going to get 30, 35 games starting this season. Because I said, if you think about it, he's going to play what? 6 to 8 times for Romania. He started 2 games in the League Cup. He started 2 games in the Europa League, one of which is obviously Karabag, so we don't talk about that. So already alone, and I said, let's say we get through in the League Cup against Man United, he's going to start 5 games in the League Cup. And let's say we go out fairly early in the FA Cup. Let's say he only gets 2 games in the FA Cup and we go out. He's going to get, let's say, 6 for Romania. He's going to get 5 in the League Cup, 2 in the FA Cup. Easily he's going to start 15 games this season because we're going to have injuries, all right, in the Premier. I think he's about 10 games in the Premier League, which he won't be far off, by the way. So already you're at 21. He's going to start 7 games in the Europa. That's 28. We're going to go through 30. He's going to start 30 games where you're going to see his development do this. And I think we've got a rock star. I do think that. Notice defense is better with Dom's pressing. Unbelievable presser, mate. And that's why Ange loves him. And he was the right signing. So shout out Polly Cooper for that one because he was the right signing. This January, I'd love another unknown signing as the likes of Dogi and Saar type of signings have been brilliant. I'm looking forward to a signing like that. Fantastic signs for low money. And that's the thing with these sort of signings. It's about fitting Ange Ball and what we want from you in that position that you play instead of the name. Like I said to you, I'd much rather 11 players who maybe aren't the sexiest of names that can play this system and play it to its absolute best than, well, let's be frank, Mbappe and Real Madrid at the moment, because that's not working. I literally watched him yesterday. Him and Vinicius Jr. might as well hold hands when they're playing because they're so close together at all times. Orema's classic defender, absolutely. What about Hincapie? I do like Hincapie, but I believe he's starting pretty much week in, week out for Leverkusen, with Jonathan Tah also moving on in the summer because he's going to be going on a free to Bayern Munich. He's going to be playing a lot of minutes at Leverkusen. Him, Tapsoba. I mean, Frimpong may move on. You still got Alex Grimaldo. I just think, I think he'll be staying at Leverkusen. East and the Beast, he'll be a rock in defense for a couple of years. I meant Radu. No, I got it, Cozy. So, a little bit of an update, obviously, on the centre-back of Radu, centre-back being added in January, Cardoso coming in the summer, which I expect him to be signed in the summer, by the way. Just put it out there, make it final. But thank you all so much for joining me this morning and chatting some nonsense about Spurs. You know what we do? We chat nonsense and we're all a bit of fun about it. Enjoy the rest of your days. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons and evenings, no matter where you are in the world. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you all a little bit later to talk about a little bit more Spurs. Enjoy the rest of your days, one. Take care, everyone. Peace.